Welcome to episode number 164, Inbound Aviation Marketing.
Great. Episode 164.
Right. I'm Paula Williams.
I'm John Williams.
And we are ABCI, and ABCI's mission is...
to help all you ladies and gentlemen out there sell more products and services in the aviation world.
Absolutely.
That means we've done this for 3 years.
Yep, pretty much.
And a little bit.
Yep, exactly. We haven't done podcasts every week, but pretty close to every week.
Yeah, pretty close.
We missed like Christmas week and that kind of thing.
But nature of the beast.
Exactly. Okay. So this episode is brought to you by our Sales and Marketing Lab, where we learn new things like inbound marketing, what's changing in the technology. We try some things out. We share our results. The other folks in the group try some things and share their results, and we all get better.
We all learn from everybody else.
Absolutely. And that is, I think, the best way to keep up with technology is to not do it alone.
And everybody tries a different piece.
Yeah, so there is no way to keep up with this by yourself because nobody's an expert at every method or technology.
Nope.
Okay, great. So let's talk about inbound aviation marketing.
Why not?
Okay, this is something that people have been talking about for the last 3 or 4 years, more than ever. It's one of those Google trending topics, which is one of the reasons that we're talking about it, and that is one of the things that one of the methods that we use to attract new customers is to use those Google trending topics, which is a inbound marketing method, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to talk about 3 things, or at least 3 categories of things that really help for inbound aviation marketing. And those 3 things are SEO, social media, and lead magnets, right? Magnetism, lead magnets, right? Okay, so first of all, what's so great about search engine optimization?
Well, when it works, it gets people to come look at your website.
Right, and these are people who are obviously interested in your product or service.
Right, because they search on keywords that you put out there.
Exactly. So most of the people that we're talking about are people who are very busy executives who are running around trying to get things done, and they are very busy. And if you throw an ad at them, they will ignore it, right? So the only way to get their attention is to catch them at the moment that they are looking for something, a solution to a problem or a situation like that. And the only way reliably to do that, for sure, is to catch them when they're looking for it on the web. So they pull out their phone while they're waiting for their plane or whatever, and they look up, who do I know that can help with this particular problem or situation or solution or product, right?
In fact, I'm guilty of that myself, and I get very disgusted because I put in what I think I want to look for, and if nothing comes up, then that tells me I'm looking for the wrong things, and I don't like that.
And you don't, yeah, so part of this is knowing what words to search for, and that involves getting into the head of these busy executives who are looking for things and trying to guess what words they're going to be using. And we've got some
stuff to help us figure that out now, but back in the day.
You used to just guess. And talk to customers and figure out, what were you looking for when you found us? Now we've got some automated tools to help us do that, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So what is so great about search engine optimization? The first thing is that it is sustainable. So it doesn't last forever, but there are some elements of it. There are some articles that we wrote 8, 9, 10 years ago that are still getting traffic. So when you do search engine optimization right, there's kind of a curve, where it's really effective and then it starts to decrease a little bit and then it levels off. But that leveled off situation is still better than it was before.
Oh, yes.
So every time you create some assets for search engine optimization, or you do a really good job of indexing all of your photos on your site, that stays there forever. And some things about Google have stayed the same for as long as Google has been Google.
However,
like they've always looked for indexed photographs that have keywords on them, or what they call meta tags, so that they can tell what that image is. That's something that hasn't changed in 10 years on Google.
Right, but there's a lot of other things that change weekly, monthly, quarterly.
Right.
And so you have to stay on top of SEO. If you decide to start the game, plan on being in it until you get out of business.
Right. at least periodically.
Right. Not every day, but if you hire somebody to do it, they're going to have to keep up with it, and because Google's algorithms change, lots of things change.
Right. And for some of our clients, that we do work for on a regular basis, we may do something else for 6 months and then come back and do another SEO effort for a month, and then do something else for 6 months and then come back and do SEO. So it's something that you don't have to do constantly. You're still going to get a lot of benefit out of it. That's a virtuous cycle. But the more you do, the better off you often are. The second thing is that it's the least salesy method of marketing that I have ever seen, because it's dealing with people who are looking for you. It's completely, purely inbound.
Right.
And it's probably the only pure inbound method that I've seen.
True.
Okay. And the third thing is the return on investment for search engine optimization is really, really good compared with pay-per-click, compared with magazine ads, compared with other things that are only good for that day, week, or month. It lasts a long time. The benefits are usually very, very good return on investment.
Yes, they are.
Okay, cool. So one thing you need to be aware of, caveats, provisos, and quid pro quos, right? To quote a movie, I think that was from Aladdin. That was Robin Williams' line.
Yeah,
he came up with a contract with his, you get 3 wishes, but there's all these caveats, provisos, and quid pro quos. Search engine optimization, there are a lot of people who are running around selling search engine optimization who are doing things that could hurt you rather than help you. And usually if it is really inexpensive, or if they promise really unbelievable results, most likely they are doing something that may not be kosher.
And if they are, and Google catches that, they will ban your website.
Right.
Well, not your website, but your URL. Mm-hmm. And then you're done.
Penalize it or unindex it.
Right.
One way or the other. Right. So the only way to be certain that that is not going to be the case is either to do search engine optimization yourself, which we don't recommend because we don't even do that ourselves anymore. Right. A lot of the more technical stuff we actually end up outsourcing, or outsourcing parts of it for some of our clients, because of the high degree of difficulty, and because we go to school 3 times a year on search engine optimization, and we still don't know some of the nuances of some of the newest updates.
But we have to keep up with, so we understand what people are talking to us about.
Exactly. So in a lot of cases, they'll do things like spin content to make pseudo-duplicate content out of the articles that are already on your site. They'll do invisible text. They'll do cloaking, redirecting links from uncredible sites, all kinds of crazy stuff. The way I like to look at this is that anything that you could think of to trick Google, somebody at Google has already thought of, because they spent a ton of money on very smart kids who do nothing but sit around in rooms thinking of ways to trick Google and then figure out ways to defeat those tricks, right?
You bet.
And that's part of the reason why there are so many updates. So SEO is definitely worth doing, but you have to do it the hard way, which is to create great content, make sure you got good indexing, make sure you got a great site structure, all of the hard ways of doing it. And that's what we do when we do SEO for clients. Okay, so some of the resources for search engine optimization for aviation companies, there's episode 39 and 40 of our podcast, SEO methods we don't recommend and SEO methods we do recommend. Those are a year or so old, but I did review them and they're still good. So, there's nothing there that's changed all that much. We'll do a free audit for you for aviation companies from our website. You can just go to, we'll put the link in the show notes for that. And also an article on search engine optimization, what's the best way to do it for aviation companies. And then we have a tip sheet, free tip sheet you can download and then use that as a checklist, 5 ways to improve your SEO.
And just a note, this is all pointed toward Google. Well, that's because they get 76% of the world searches are done through Google.
Yeah, it was 73, I think, last time I looked, and I'm sure it's changed since then.
So that's the reason we do it that way. There are a lot of other search engines, but you want to go for the big bang.
Right. And the things that you do to optimize with Google will often carry over to all of the other search engines as well. So if we shoot for the biggest, you use the 80-20 rule, right? And it's almost 80%. 73-27 rule. If you aim for the biggest benefit for the smallest amount of effort, that would be Google, right?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So that's search engine optimization. Now let's talk about social media. So what is great about social media? I know you're not a huge fan of social media except for maybe LinkedIn.
Keep talking.
Okay. There are 3 things that are great about social media from the perspective of marketing. One of them, probably actually it's not the most important. I would have said it was the most important a few years ago, but now it's changed. But it is important to have the kind of speed that you need to advertise something really quickly. So search engine optimization is not going to fill seats at an event that you're having next week. It's a much slower roll.
Right.
Social media marketing is kind of the other end of the spectrum. Things that you do today, you might have active. You could put an ad out there this afternoon for an event that you're having next week. If you are doing training or empty legs for a charter or something like that, that's a real time sensitive situation. Social media is probably the very best way to do that. And that also includes pay-per-click, but social media marketing usually has some venues like Facebook and things like that are better able to segment and really able to get those ads in front of the right people at the right time. Right? Okay, so speed is number 1. Metrics is number 2. And that, to me, at this point, I think is the coolest. There's just no cooler way. I mean, if you're in marketing, data is your lifeblood. The more you know about your customers, the better job you can do. And we used to pay a ton of money. When I worked for Wells Fargo, we would pay a group called Gartner Group and some other intelligence companies hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for the kind of data that we now get we as a small company, not Wells Fargo, that we get for free every day just for looking it up.
Yep, just because if you know how to do it.
Exactly. So those metrics are amazingly valuable. And then the third thing is credibility. In the aviation industry, we have a very small group of customers. And the second question after what do you do is who are you working with? So if you can answer that question via social media and people can see who's working with you or who has done business with you or who's left you a review, that's a really great way of answering that question in a way that's super credible, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, speed. You can have an ad out this afternoon and get results within a week using social media. I do not know of any other way to do that.
True.
Second thing is unbelievably detailed data, and we're going to talk about some of the possibilities with that. And then the third is somebody I know thinks this is great, and that's much better than just picking someone out of the phone book, right? Okay. So,
phone book?
Yeah, nobody uses the phone book anymore. It's better than just...
Have you ever seen a phone book?
Not for 10 years. But it's a whole lot better than just picking somebody off the internet that you don't know.
True.
Right? If you know that they've done business with somebody that you know, you can at least pick up the phone and ask them, so what was your experience like? Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So unbelievably detailed data. I want to show you some of our unbelievably detailed data. And I'm not going to show you even the most unbelievably detailed data because I don't want to show you some of our most unbelievably detailed data. Right?
Sound like a circle to me.
Okay. These are the people that are our fans on our Facebook page. And if you look at this, you're going to see that it's far more men than women. And it also breaks it down into fans versus people who are engaged. So there are a lot of really young people who like our page, but they're not very engaged with our page, which is fine. We love young people, and they will eventually become customers someday. But our very most valuable customers are probably 35 and up.
Yeah.
And we can see that they are, the breakdown of men versus women, and we can see the breakdown of ages there, and we can see that this lines up pretty consistently with the whole aviation industry.
And just a note about aviation and social media. Mm-hmm. I think it's less true these days, but in the past, 2 or 3 or 4 years, people in aviation would refuse to acknowledge the fact that they use social media, Facebook in particular.
Right.
However, we could prove that they do.
So for those of you who think that Facebook is for 13-year-old girls, we have 0% 13-year-old girls as fans on our page. Right? The vast majority are in our target market. So that's really helpful. And that's deliberate. We have actually pursued those people and positioned ourselves to make our company and make our Facebook page useful and interesting to the right kind of people. And, this shows us that we're doing a pretty good job of that.
Yep.
But if we are working with a customer, this is one of the first things that we look at is, are we hitting the right folks? So you may have a ton of likes, but, are they from 13-year-old girls? Not that there's anything wrong with that. They're going to learn to fly. They're going to be CEOs, but
they
not
just
today.
Can't buy anything right now.
Right, exactly. Their buying power is not what we'd hope for. Here's another bit of unbelievably detailed data. Relationship status, 50%, actually a little bit over 50% of our Facebook fans are married. So, that tells us something. We can also look up the number of them that have kids, and we know how old their kids are. So we know that we could send them a Halloween box with some toys for their kids, and they're going to appreciate it. These are some things that may not seem relevant, but when you're doing marketing materials, you need to know as much about these people as you possibly can, so you're not wasting your money on toys at Halloween, right? Okay. And then also the education level. The vast majority of the folks who are fans of our page are college graduates.
What does the bottom line mean, plus 0%?
That is since how much it's changed since the last time I ran that report.
Oh.
And, I ran it twice, like one after another, just to make sure it was accurate. So that's okay. Cool. So we know that they are college graduates. That affects the reading level of the materials that we produce.
Heck yes.
Right? So the Wall Street Journal is aimed at a 10th grade reading level, something along those lines. We know if we hit a 10th grade or even a 12th grade, we're probably okay.
Right.
Even a 13th grade, we're still all right. We try to aim lower than that because we don't want to make people work any harder than they have to, and usually simpler is more compelling. But this helps us make decisions about our marketing materials.
Yes, it does.
And when we look at this for a client, we can also set up their branding in a way that is going to be more attractive to the right kind of people.
Yeah, so they get in the right demographics for their product or service.
And this is super creepy if you are a regular human being, but this is super cool if you're in marketing.
That's right.
These are the other pages that people like who like our page. Okay, so the highest number of people, and this is coming down about halfway through the list. I just picked a hopefully not terribly controversial set of topics here. And you can see they all like Faith, Family, America, so there's probably a high percentage of folks that are into that. Judicial Watch, Netflix, Wayfair, Numbers USA, Buffalo Wild Wings. Who knew? So if we were to do a promotion where we gave out gift cards for a dinner or something like that, Buffalo Wild Wings would be a really good option for that.
Actually,
right?
Chick-fil-A wouldn't be bad either.
Chick-fil-A wouldn't be bad either. They're a little bit farther down the list. Freedom Works for America. Let's see. And I'm just doing this because if you are listening to this and not watching, Mitt Romney. So I probably shouldn't be bad-mouthing any particular political candidate unless I have looked at this list, right? Or at least, I can still have opinions of my own. But if I decide to align them with my brand, it probably better be similar to what my customers want to know and so on. Faves USA, The Penny Hoarder, and Chick-fil-A, and Dick's Sporting Goods. So all of those things can tell us, I can look at the marketing from some of these companies and see what they're responding to and get some really good ideas on different promotions and campaigns and other things because I know what my people respond to. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we could not get that kind of data, even for hundreds of thousands of dollars when we were working at Wells Fargo. Actually, you never worked at Wells Fargo, but we literally could not buy that kind of data because nobody had it.
True.
right? So that's just insane. And I just want to make sure that people understand how cool that is. Because it is really, really cool. All right. So the other thing is reviews on social media and also connections on social media, because you can see who people are connected to and you can see how they have responded in a lot of cases. So this is Aerostar Training Services. They're one of our clients, and these are some of the reviews from their Facebook page. Now, if I knew Jay Smith, then I would probably be more likely to contact Aerostar if I were in the market for their product or service, because I know he went there and he liked it, right? Some of these are really specific. So Aerostar Training Institutions has a very vibrant training policy which conforms with ICAO and IATA standards. Okay, if that is something that's important to me, I'm all over that, right? So all of these things, the more, the better, right? And so you really want to encourage commenting, and you want to encourage engagement, and you really want to encourage reviews on your social media, especially from people who are happy. But even if they're not happy, you'd much rather, I think, know about it and be able to respond to it, and then people can see your response and say, this is how we handle a problem. And that actually even adds credibility in a lot of cases, as long as you handle it right.
Yes.
Okay. So, some resources for social media marketing. We are coming out with the 2019 edition of this book. Hopefully by the time this is published, that will be available on Amazon. If not, it will be soon. The Social Media Guide to High Altitude Results for Aviation Marketing Professionals. Social Media Speed Bumps in Aviation Marketing. That's a article on our website that you can look for. And Social Media Marketing in Aviation, that is a podcast that we did with Kim Walsh-Phillips, who wrote the social media, no BS social media marketing guide.
Right.
Kim's really a lot of fun. She was in one of the mastermind groups that we have been involved with, and she knows her stuff as far as social media, and she's the one who showed me how to get all the really cool stuff out of the metrics, right? Okay, so last thing, lead magnets. And this is kind of an advanced strategy. We call the first two beginning strategies. This last one is kind of an advanced strategy. So what this involves is building a thing, a tip sheet, a checklist, something that's a high value item for your target market. And this one is the top 4 reasons you're having problems starting your PT6 engine. Now, only one kind of person is going to be interested in this particular tip sheet, right?
That's the guy that has PT6.
A person who has a PT6 engine and a person who is having trouble
particularly
with that PT6 engine. So you can see how this is going to lend itself really well to search engine optimization, right?
Oh, yes.
So if you are looking for my PT6 engine won't start, there's not a whole lot of information on the web about that, fortunately for us, right?
Yep.
So we can do search engine optimization for a lot of the terms in this tip sheet or in this article, and we can make sure that it's something that people are going to find. We can also put a form in front of this tip sheet or not, or we can use Leadfeeder or some other technology to make sure that we capture the people that are going to this particular article or tip sheet.
True.
Okay, so this tip sheet is what we call the lead magnet, and then these other means are the ways that we are exposing those iron filings, right, to that magnet.
Yep.
One of them is search engine optimization. So all of the people who are on the web having this problem, they're more likely to find this piece. Secondly is social media. We can create some social media ads, and using those social media ads and using those detailed demographics that we showed you before, we can target people who are most likely to have PT6A engines and get them to the point where they're going to see this, where it's going to run across their path while they are scrolling through their grandchildren's pictures of their dogs and cats, or whatever it is that they're looking at on Facebook. And if you think that older people are not on Facebook, you're full of hooey, because they definitely are.
What is
Hooey?
Yeah, what is that?
That is a nice way of saying they're not telling the truth. Okay, so right, this lead magnet is something that we can repurpose and we can structure in a lot of different ways to make sure that people get there. And we can even do postcards and other things to get people to this lead magnet. And what it does is it just gives us the opportunity to capture their contact information and get them in contact with us if they haven't been before, and position our customer as a expert on how to start your stinking engine.
Right.
That won't, right? Okay, so here are some resources on lead magnets. There is a tip sheet on our website.
Of course.
This is very meta, right? Go to our website and go to this tip sheet. A tip sheet about 17 different types of lead magnets that you can create. So that's the do-it-yourself option. If you want to do it yourself, you can create one of those 17. The other way is our lead magnet done for you service, where we will consult with you. We'll come up with a lead magnet that we think would be a good fit for your customers, and then we'll find ways using SEO and social media and other means to get people to come to that lead magnet.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Cool. So, once again, we talked about those 3 possible ways, or 3 methods of inbound marketing: search engine optimization, social media, and lead magnets. Exactly. And we talk about all of those things in our sales and marketing lab. Many times, yeah, all the time. In fact, we do custom consulting in our office hours, and if this is something that you're wanting to do, in fact, a lot of our customers are working on their own lead magnets, and we're helping them put those together and make them more effective every single month when we meet, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, thank you for joining us. If you would like to talk with us about any of these things in particular, how to get those cool metrics from your Facebook, or how to build a lead magnet, or any of those things, hit that contact us button on our website, set up 30 minutes, and let's talk about your goals and objectives and how we can help. Thank you for joining us, and have a great week.
We'll see you next time.